There was a couple things here. Justin Jefferson was asked about the impending quarterback decision, and he says, "Doesn't matter who's going to be throwing it. I'm going to make the play." Uh, which I feel like that's confidence you always want in your receivers. Like, I mean, I feel like there's always that. Right? Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, he's a lot of the reason a lot of the players end up looking, or a lot of the coaches look, or quarterbacks look good. Right. Yeah. Ex Saints interim coach Darren Rizzi is joining the Broncos as special teams coordinator. Dolphins released running back Raheem Mostert, which kind of shocked me a little bit because I feel like he had been really good. They also, yeah, they also released tight end Smythe and Kendall Fuller, cornerback Kendall Fuller. So yeah, I would say so. Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill and Olympic gold medalist Noah Lyles, who have kind of had that rivalry a little bit because Lyles has talked a bunch of crap and Hill has talked his crap too, agree to a race in 2025. So they are going to have one. I don't see exactly when it's going to be, but they said it'll be like this spring or summer. They haven't told exactly when it will be, but yeah, yeah. He at one point he was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, Giants exploring potential sale of minority stake in franchise. I figured we should look into this. Giants, just us, me and you. Yeah, yeah. We'd just be my, we'd be minority though. We wouldn't be like making any big decisions. Yeah. Uh, Speaking of that, I've always I get these like advertisements on like Facebook and uh, like TikTok and stuff, but there's a ad for like a soccer team over in Scotland that you can like donate a little bit of money to, and you can be considered an owner. And I've always like that intrigues me as much as buying a square foot of Scotland land to becoming a lord. Like I just like just to say like yeah, I own a soccer team. Right. So- yeah. Yeah. Do you get like season like start voting terrible for terrible decisions? Yeah. One of the big pieces of news too was Jets moving on from quarterback Aaron Rodgers. So, uh, he's. I mean, I would say so. I feel like he is definitely past his prime and I don't see him as one of the best anymore. Uh, yeah, Yeah. Uh, yeah. 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 I just and he's not the type of guy that wants to teach a younger quarterback either. So he's not great for your roster. Yeah. 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 They said yeah, because that's where I want him to go just because. Yeah. Uh yeah. I love how this says four. Oh, there. The four places it's for potential landing spots that they claim on NFLnews.com is Raiders, Giants, Browns, and Steelers. Yeah. But isn't he one of the ones that got rid of Russell? Yeah. I feel like it's a really Giants move to go with him. Like, I don't think the Steelers make sense in my opinion. I think the Steelers are gonna get. Yeah, I feel like Steelers are trying to get younger. They took a shot on Russell because he was free, and Justin Fields was practically free too. So I mean, take a year with those guys and see what happens, and then yeah, yeah, and what do the Steelers just take on Fields' contract? So they would they have to re-sign him? Yeah, yeah. So I would yeah I would say that it's probably going to end up being. I would be shocked if they didn't take a shot at Justin Fields at least because they're probably drafting a quarterback, right? Like, I mean, this isn't necessarily a draft to do it, but Jackson Dart looked fairly decent in the Senior Bowl stuff. Yeah, I don't think Tomlin and Rodgers mix very well though either. Yeah, yeah. I would say Browns or Giants is probably where they're going, where he's going to end up. Like those are the two spots that make the most sense in the fact that they kind of yeah, yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's these quarterbacks and the not getting or and those Achilles lately. Like it's I mean, uh, Rogers and uh, yeah, right, yeah, 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 yeah. Didn't he ever really just get it cleaned up? Basically, it wasn't ever like he did too much, right? Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, Penix look great. Yeah, yeah,
Could be like the '06 quarterback class.
yeah. I would say so.
Let me find the copy here. Yeah, it's I was sick, so it's been a couple weeks. Yeah, so we're just back to it here. I'm trying to figure everything back out. I don't know. It keeps hitting our household.
Yeah, you guys keep
Um,
having a revolving door.
yeah, and it felt like the same thing, but this one was only a couple days instead of a couple weeks. So
That's good.
thankful for that.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we're like, trying to figure out like, are we cross contaminating or what the deal is? But with working in a public space, it's like, who knows? I could just shook someone's hand and
Right.
I don't want to think about it. Um, Here we go.
All right, Bears fans, before we dive back into the game talk, we've got to shout out today's sponsor, the Happy Can.
Yeah, if you're looking for a refreshing way to unwind after a long day without the alcohol, but with all the chill vibes, the Happy Can is definitely where it's at.
Happy Can is a lab tested, vegan friendly, alcohol free beverage that's infused with THC and CBD. Whether you're kicking back at home or catching up with friends, it's the perfect way to relax without the hangover.
Exactly. It's crafted for those of us who are over 21 and want to enjoy the benefits of THC and CBD without any of the alcohol. Plus, it's delicious, responsibly sourced, and did we mention it's vegan friendly?
Yep, no sketchy ingredients, just pure chill in a can. So if you're looking for something new to sip on, grab yourself a Happy Can and keep those good vibes going.
Make sure to check them out on buythehappycan.com and use code barelyhappy for a special discount for just our listeners. Cheers to a happy, healthier way to unwind.
Happy Can, because life's better when you're chill.
Barely happy. Remember to use that?
Life is better with when you're And they're coming out with a brand new flavor. That cream soda is finally coming through. So.
It is. It was cream soda.
Yep.
Ah, you tilted the scales.
I'm pumped
Your favorite.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm a fan of cream soda as well.
Yeah.
I was just telling a story today, and this has nothing to do with sports. I was in California when I was 9 years old, and these biker guys at my aunt's wedding gave me a 40 ounce of cream soda in a brown paper bag. You know, it looked like a 40 ounce bottle, and it was in California. So I sipped on that thing for like 3 days. It was all old and stale. I'm just thinking I was like
that's a lot of cream soda.
a lot. And it's like, why did they buy that and just give it to me? But yeah, that's what turned into.
Kid drinking beer.
That's where my alcoholism started. Just kidding. It hasn't started yet. Yeah, so I was looking at NFL.com. They had they had list up of everyone's ranking. We're ranked 15th, so right in the middle of the pack as far as this draft class goes. And just as a reminder of the draft class, we picked Caleb Williams number 1, obviously, and then Rome Odunze at 9. We had round 3 was our next pick. We picked Kieran Amagaje, which was the offensive tackle that looked really kind of lost, the guy from Yale. Polls kind of got cooked for that one because it's like you're picking linemen in the 3rd round that should be almost a lot of 3rd rounders actually contribute, He got in late in the season and looked really outmatched. So it's like, what are we doing there? Round 4 was Troy Taylor. I think, as far as the season we had, it could have been a lot worse without him.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he played really well.
Yeah. But we're lucky. I think that was a good pick. And then Austin Booker. There was a lot of it kind of obviously says what you think it would say. It talks about decent numbers, but 68 sacks. A lot of it was on the offensive line, but a lot of it's on Caleb, of course. So we gotta think a B- grade. We're kind of right in the middle of the pack there, but I think it wasn't bad compared to I think compared to some of the other draft classes in the past. And then if you look at who was drafted in this class, like I mentioned before, is kind of the reason why it made us look maybe not as good, right?
Right.
It's in the middle of the pack. Austin Booker, I think, is going to be good. And that's a 5th rounder.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, if not a insane edge rusher, like he did a great job filling in when he needed to. And then he's obviously going to grow into that. I mean, there's a lot. I feel like there's not a lot of edge rushers that are just immediately good. I mean, it takes a year or two to be. I mean, at the top, obviously, your Watts and your stuff like that. They can be great at the beginning, but I feel like to be a pretty good rusher and not be like one of the top people, it takes a couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, and also just for a young guy like that, being good depth.
Yeah.
As a defensive, especially if we can pick up like we were talking about. I think if we're shopping defensive ends, there's a bunch that are going to be available in free agency here. He might be a good secondary piece of that because he didn't have any starts. He played in all 17 games, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he was a lot. He just wasn't starting.
And I remember a lot of key plays where I would see him kind of get in there and get after it too.
Yeah. That Amagaji pick, it was bad in the fact that he looked outmatched and he's a 3rd rounder, so you could have probably gotten him later. But I don't think he was necessarily a bad player. I think he just needs some work.
Yeah.
We'll see if Ben Johnson keeps him on the roster and if he sees him as like somebody who's serviceable or not. He's a smart kid. He went to Yale, so
yeah.
Only played in 6, had 1 start. From a 3rd rounder, I feel like you want more than that, right?
Yeah.
And Rome only started in 12 games. He played in 17.
Just want to make an announcement. The USA-Canada game is officially over, and USA won 3-1.
USA 3-1. Can't beat that, right?
Yeah. So they are 2 wins out of they're 2-0 so far out of the round robin. So.
Let's go, America, North America. I mean, United States of America. Can't say North America in this case, right?
Yeah, and the Finland, who they beat on Thursday, beat Sweden 4-3 in a face-off. So, or in an overtime.
Aren't Finland and Sweden the same country? I don't understand. They're the same people. Which one's better at hockey? Well, obviously, Sweden.
Finland won.
Do you know much about those guys?
Not a lot. Obviously, I know
None of the top players in the NHL are Swedish or Finnish, right?
They have, a few pieces
American,
here and there.
right?
It's
Ovechkin's
majority,
is Ovechkin Russian? What is Ovechkin?
I believe he is like Russian or one of those, like Russian, Ukrainian, something like that.
Gotcha.
I believe he's Russian though. They've got but like I said, they have a couple like top players, but like Sebastian Aho or Laney, kind of some of those guys. But your Canada and your U.S. are definitely your like tops players right now.
Yeah. Gotcha. That does remind me we did have before we talk about Super Bowl, the Bears matriarch did pass away this last week before last. So just want to play a little bit of somber music here and tell you a little story about 1985 when the Bears won the Super Bowl. Virginia McCaskey was taking over the team, and she saw our cheerleaders as too risque, eliminating them, the Honey Bears. And guess what? We haven't won a Super Bowl since. So, with all respect, you'll be missed. But can we get the Honey Bears back now? Because we want to win a Super Bowl. Also, we like girls that cheer for football. Okay? So, I'm going to assume her dying wish was to bring the Honey Bears back. Can we get that done? If I got to buy ownership in the Giants, that somehow translates into the Bears getting...
Yeah, some crazy way.
That's where our curse comes from. If you guys didn't know that, look it up.
For the Cubs and cheerleaders for the Bears.
Yeah.
Hey, and we walked that goat. Somebody walked that goat and we won it. So
should we just dress like cheerleaders? Go to every home game? We're going to need like 12 other dudes. How good are you at pyramid? You're going to be you're going to be a base, bud. I'm going to get tossed in the air and probably going to die.
Hopefully we can all catch, because not Michael's concrete.
I'm getting concrete if you can catch. I'm old and uncoordinated at this point. Yeah, so that being said, what do you think we should do this year besides offensive line and offensive line for our draft?
I really, well, especially after the Super Bowl, really love the rumors that I've seen about going after Josh Sweat. I've seen a lot of that.
I hadn't heard it a lot, but I mean, I really haven't been digging around either for, any of the backstories. I've been trying to stay out of it, and just so I don't get my hopes up about somebody, That one, seems there's a lot. What about the Myles Garrett? You think he's out there?
He asked for a trade, so I mean, obviously,
What do you give up for him though? They're
yeah,
saying
that's
a
the problem.
first round, right?
Yeah, uh, and that's gonna be tough to negotiate because obviously he's getting a little older, but also he's still a top defense. It's that it's Miles Garrett, and then Micah Parsons too that I've heard kind of he's a little on edge. I don't think he's leaving by any means if he like can help it, but I don't think he's super happy there by any means.
Well, and they're getting kind of shredded for that Brian Schottenheimer hire as their head coach.
Yeah, we just got a comment on TikTok. Coleman prods. Bills should get Miles Garrett for Von Miller and a first round pick and fifth round pick.
Yeah, that if they thrown in a good player helps, and we don't really have anybody to throw.
And that helps out the Bills because I mean that helps out Bills. I mean that's a pretty good trade because Von Miller's obviously way. I mean he's got to be.
He got nothing.
Yeah, he's getting close to being done. And
for the Browns, at least you get something for Miles Garrett leaving instead of just
first and fifth. That would be.
I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
Bills are right there too, man. They're just knocking on that door. Yeah, you know, they're a person like that.
Just cannot get over hump, unfortunately. Like I want it so bad for Josh Allen.
You got to take a page out of the Eagles playbook, and like Vic Fangio just ran that defensive 4. He didn't really blitz at all, and just had Patrick looking like Caleb Williams.
they blitzed one time and it was called back. I believe was the stat because there was that pass interference or holding or whatever it was, and it got called back. But they made him. Yeah, they made Patrick Mahomes look mortal. Like that was crazy.
Yeah,
I think Tom Brady was salivating at the fact that he was.
We all wanted. Come on, we didn't want to see this guy win third. Nobody really did, you know.
Yeah.
Except for Kansas City specific fans, obviously. But yeah, it was like what we all wanted. We're like, oh man, damn. He's just throwing that. He's running for his life.
Yeah. Coleman commented again and said, if we get a new weapon and a defensive beast, we could go all the way. I think if they get a wide receiver for sure, the Bills could do some crazy stuff because Josh Allen did this year with like, I mean, Amari Cooper was the biggest name. I feel like Keon Coleman, I feel like could be pretty good, but I think he's kind of to me as an outsider, as obviously as a Bears fan, I don't have huge ideas behind the Bills, but he seems like a kind of a second guy, not your first guy.
Yeah, but I don't even think they need wide receivers really. I mean, issue didn't seem to be scoring points. It seemed to more be stopping people from scoring points. You know, because they were like one stop away from winning against Kansas City there.
Yeah.
They're there. I mean, every year.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they are
secondary last year too.
I think they're a defensive, a good defensive pass rusher or two, or back end guy away from it. Probably, you know. I mean, you were right there from beating a team that got absolutely demolished. I think it would have been a better Super Bowl if it was the Bills and Eagles. I mean, as far as competitiveness goes.
Yeah, I think the Eagles were unstoppable this year with that their defense and
kind of like did this kept getting better and better and better. You know, like at the end of the season, they're talking about firing Sirianni.
Yeah, which is just crazy.
And now the guy's been to he's been in the playoffs every year he's coached. It's the head coach, I believe, and also, as much as I'm not like a huge fan of the Eagles, like it was a cool season to watch for them.
Yeah,
Pick one and
Coop.
Yeah.
Coop
yeah, for sure.
All the way.
Yeah,
That was so
it was
exciting to see.
him look like a 10-year vet as a rookie.
Yeah.
You know,
Did
at
you watch
it,
any of the highlights of that pick six? Like
yeah,
Zach Braun is like, "Go Coop, go Coop," and just like
yeah,
Saquon Barkley's, "Oh my god, oh my god."
yeah.
But it was both their
Seri-
birthdays. That was crazy.
yeah, yeah. Celebrating their birthdays. Sirianni is running, sprinting down the field. Um, yeah, that's when it got real bad.
Yeah, that opened the
It was
floodgates.
like,
Scene. It's
and you heard that crowd?
yeah,
Everyone was like,
yeah. Well, and they all do the same thing Iowa used to do when Cooper was at Iowa, and just do the Coop. So it sounds like
yeah,
booze, but it's just Coop over and over again.
yeah. Um, yeah, it was a pretty fun Super Bowl to watch.
It's
Um,
wild to play your backups
yeah,
in the Super Bowl. Like Kenny Pickett coming in is the craziest thing in the world.
man, who would have saw that?
Yeah. Also, you got some compliments on your jerseys behind you.
Nice. Um, uh, I do have a jersey. Oh, real quick, I got to show you. I just got off a TikTok shop. That's pretty cool. Hold on one second.
All right. Coleman, yes, it is always awesome to watch the Chiefs get destroyed. Especially like they've just like oh nice.
It's Japan though.
Is it? Oh, that's sick.
It
You're
says
gonna
samurai.
that's awesome.
I got it for $15 on TikTok shop.
Oh, that's yeah.
I was like, we'll see. So I mean, it's like not bad quality, but it's not. I don't think
Still
Otani ever wore it in a game. Put it that way.
$15 though, I mean that's hard to beat.
Yeah, it's like a crossed off a T-shirt, and it's got like the embroidered letters, and
Yeah. That's
it says Japan.
yeah. That's sick.
Oh,
You're gonna need to get the Nebraska kids jersey too. The Japanese Steph Curry.
oh yeah, that's right. Um, I like getting those different jerseys too.
Yeah.
Uh, not like a huge Otani fan, but I saw it on there. I'm like, oh, it says Samurai Japan on the sleeve.
I need to order some more, and then also I want to get the Ducks brought back the old jersey, and I freaking want that so bad. The Anaheim Ducks with
Oh,
the goalie mask duck face. I
yeah,
think that's the coolest
like,
sweater ever.
yeah, yeah, that is cool. I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about the Oregon Ducks. I'm like,
No,
it's
they brought back their
rain.
old one. Which one of the 50 million that they had?
Yeah,
No, the Anaheim Ducks have always had the coolest mascot in my opinion. Like that's the coolest hockey sweater.
yeah, it is pretty
As
cool.
as a Blackhawks fan, it hurts to say that, but also like it's just sick, especially the old one, the old school one.
Yeah, Blackhawks haven't updated since like 1930.
I mean, that's not true.
Have they?
It's just like it just looks the
Just
same every year.
like updated version of the same thing,
we
not like a
actually we actually made it a brighter red this year. Instead of
They
red, we went maroon.
they didn't even do that. Change the
No.
name of it. Um. So that's another thing. Talk about these Super Bowl teams. There's some people on these teams that are going to be coming up available.
Yeah.
You know? And that's one thing I will say about Washington Commanders. There's a lot of guys on 1-year contracts, like the Zach Ertz's stuff. So that team ain't the same either.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And they're in Philly's division, which is obviously a competitive division.
You know who looked awful in the Super Bowl was Kelsey.
Yeah. I've been seeing some plays where he was just kind of standing there.
Yeah, there was one where Mahomes is running for his life in the backfield, and he's just standing
Yeah.
there watching it. And then
And
there
he
was
runs
another
right by.
one
He
I
doesn't even try to
watched.
block the guy next to him.
Yeah, there was another one I watched where it was a breakdown, and there was a good 2 seconds in the video. The offensive line was snapped, backing up into their back steps, and Travis Kelsey, 2 seconds in the video, finally jumps off the line. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it wasn't even meant to be a delay. He was supposed to chip, uh, Sweat, and he missed him. He was just so slow off the line. It's like that's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
So, do you think he should retire?
I I don't know if
Do
he
you think it was
retires this year.
because he was looking pretty good in the few games before the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
You know
he
what I
had
mean?
like a little
He
run.
had a down season though.
Yeah, earlier in the year he was definitely slow, and then he kind of picked it up a little bit. He was like, okay, this is the Travis Kelsey we know. And then
Right.
the Super Bowl just was like, what is going on? Like, and I like it just looks slow and just it's hard to watch, which sucks because like I like Travis Kelsey as a football player. Like he's obviously like a great tight end, but it's tough to watch when these guys that you like know and like to watch just start getting older and suck.
Well, and the crazy thing is, it happens fast. You know, it
Yeah,
is like that.
because
And
last year he
so
was amazing.
you just always question: is it a down season or is it
Right.
the end? You know what I mean? Especially when you get into your 30s. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just a fact of life in football. Unfortunately, it's a young man's sport, and maybe at tight end you could go a little longer. You know, if you were like an excellent blocker.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Which is where you're like
they're
Mercedes Lewis comes in, where he's 40 years old, and it's because he is that blocking guy. He's not.
yeah. Yeah, and he's a good rule guy. You know, he knows good for the locker room, gonna block when he needs to, and hopefully catch a pass, but maybe not.
Yeah. Just don't throw it to
Probably
Gerald
not.
Everett. Just don't throw it to Gerald Everett.
No, we don't have to anymore, though. I'm pretty sure.
I hope not. That's rough. That was me and you both looked at each other and when seeing him on the jug machine was like, oh god, who's that?
Yeah, we knew.
Yeah, it's just like don't throw it to
We
that
didn't say
idiot.
it out. But we both knew. That man was not catching much.
Right.
Um. He came from the Chargers, and old Charger just got in the Hall of Fame. Antonio Gates.
Yes.
Um.
Good for
Speaking
him to
of catch,
finally. That's wild.
catch,
That I'm surprised it took him that long to get in. Like, isn't that crazy?
yeah, but I mean, they don't let many people in, to be honest with you. So
It was like 3 this
it
year, right? 3 or 4.
guys can get in, you know, that are just like sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
And then I read a story that's kind of a crazy story, and they're like, they want their dad to get in because he was like an MVP like 3 years and stuff, blah blah blah. But after football, he killed his whole family. He killed his he killed his wife and
Oh,
himself.
that's a tough sell.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know. How good do your football numbers have to be to outweigh a murder?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know about this one.
Weird. Whoever votes on it's just like you're putting us in a weird place. Don't even put him on the list. We can't do this.
Yeah. Guys, Ray Rice should definitely get into the Hall of Fame.
Mike Vick?
I saw a video that was a fan of Philadelphia, and their dog was walking around in a Michael Vick jersey.
Jeez, man. I had to be a young kid. He just doesn't know.
I think it was an older family. Like it was. Like...
You got to get like a Donald McNabb jersey or something for that dog, man. Somebody, there's a million other people. Who even makes that? Or was it just a real person jersey?
It was just a real person jersey, and they added it on there.
That's just someone being ironic.
Yeah.
Just being terrible person, actually. I don't know though.
Somebody just
He probably can't.
commented on on TikTok and said, "Go bald or 5 nights at Diddy's." Bald for sure.
I'm
I'll wear
bald.
hats.
I'm married. Jesus stuck with me.
Yeah, I like hats anyways.
Or if I'm going to Diddy's, I mean, he's in prison, so what's his place like now? There's nobody chilling there. I'm cool. 5 days.
Do you think anybody's cleaned up all the baby oil though? It's still you step in and it's like an ice rink. It's still.
I've got my shots. You know, I'm going in there some fun. Ripping out of my underwear, sliding around.
Oh man,
Meek Mill was here. No, probably the bald, because I feel like it makes you look tough. Really, if you shave your head all the way, do some weird handlebar shit with my facial hair.
You just gotta fully commit. So there's somebody at my work that's in IT.
Maybe a head.
There's somebody at my work that's in IT that their hairline goes like to here, and then it's a man bun.
Cool, that's helping. All the attention away from it. Let him know.
Like, what the?
Let him know you're doing it. They're not. LeBron.
Yeah, that was wild.
Headband's helping.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to back here is not alarming anybody. Yeah. I would definitely not have a man bun though.
Yeah.
And take all distraction away from the hair. My hairline's getting back there pretty far. To be honest with you, but I turned 45 in April, so at some point you gotta say your goodbyes.
It's not terrible.
Hey, you got plenty. You got plenty of time.
Only gonna be 30 this year, so I mean.
And then you wake up one day and you're like, "Oh, damn, my forehead's big."
All on your pillow. More of a 5 head than a 4 head now.
Or you're just like,
ah.
They're supposed to fall, right?
Another news. Spring training's back. Baseball is here.
Very cool.
So Cubs are trying to make a team this year, so we'll see what happens. I don't have a ton of.
I mean, it's almost similar to what the Bears have been as far as not wanting to spend money.
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem here? Obviously, in baseball, if you spend the money, you get a winning team.
It pays, yeah.
Because the teams that are at the top are spending the money, you know? They just are.
The two top spenders in the World Series last year? I'm pretty sure. Dodgers for sure. They won, and they were like literally the top spender.
And the Yankees.
And the Yankees, which are one of the top spenders. So, like, obviously, you said it pays off.
Crazy stat between the Yankees between the last World Series they had, you know, the billions spent. Yeah, so, but, you know, if the Ricketts family can't compete, then sell it to someone who can.
Yeah.
That'd be worth a bunch of billions.
Yeah.
And there's been people available out there to get, like, really huge name players, you know?
Yeah.
So
this year was a pretty good year for a lot of movement around the MLB, it looked like.
Yeah.
So I just want to do like a crazy, like, they're not paying us, but I want to shout it out. Lopi's Pizza, I had some tonight. Oh, it's so good, man.
Yeah. I know those guys. They do some cool mashups as well with like bands, local bands, different flavors and charities and stuff too. Their pizza is good.
I always forget how much I like it, but I love New York style. I hate Quad City style pizza with a passion. I freaking hate it.
I am New York style pizza as well myself.
Which if you're pizza and like
eat it like a taco.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, New York style is like a thin crust. It's a thin pizza, right? It's a street pizza. You fold it in half, grease drips out the end as you're eating it. Chicago style is like piece of bread with lasagna freaking sauce on top of
It's a
it.
casserole.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not my thing.
No,
Which it might be people's. It's not. Um,
it's like it's a
really, the
thing to like
city
try.
pizza. What would you consider Quad City style pizza?
Quad City,
Rectangle.
from what I understand, Quad City style pizza is meat under the cheese. It's the sausage is, from what I understand, the sausage is the thing where it's like that double ground sausage, which I hate so much. I like Italian sausage. I hate the ground sausage. And then
Yeah,
it's strips, which I don't know if you guys have tried to eat a fucking pizza with strips. It is the dumbest thing in the world, in my opinion. I think it's so stupid.
yeah, the rectangles. And they're soggy rectangles that droop.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
It irritates me so bad. And then taco pizza is a big thing around here too.
Yeah,
But I think that's just like a Midwest thing in general.
we have good pizza.
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah.
but if I was specific to what I liked, it would be New York style, and that's thin crust, and like we described before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Quad City pizza, but the pizza places that are like local, Harris Pizza, there's a couple local ones that are, I think, good pizza.
Yeah.
Not necessarily my style. So send us money, whatever. Love it.
Low pies, let's work together.
Well, actually, a pizza contest on here. Okay, just
Yeah.
like some bars. We're trying to get on Barstool, right?
Let's just
Oh,
go let's just go
start
eat
rating
pizza.
pizza.
Let's just go do a podcast from Low Pies.
Okay, they're probably fans of some weird team, though, man. Like the Seahawks or something.
Dude, because I ordered it while I got off work, so I had to sit there for a few minutes. So I had a beer, and they had the All Star game on, and then they had past episodes of like Monday Night Raw on from like the '80s.
They're real big into wrestling.
Yeah.
Real big into it.
Do they? Because we have a wrestling thing here.
Yeah.
We have a wrestling camp, and then like we have some like big wrestlers from here.
Yeah.
Do they do anything with them?
Yeah. Like there's been a couple of the wrestlers have been in there, and some of that stuff in there's like they have pinball machines or something that's signed by them.
No.
Yeah, they do have wrestling there during a festival that's during the summertime in Davenport called Alternating Currents. They have some wrestling and some bands there as well. So
Yeah.
there's something getting built right next door in that neighborhood too. So
It's blowing up down there. I hadn't been down there in a little while, but I
it
still
is.
want to go to the Last Picture House. This has nothing to do with sports, and I apologize, but this is just kind of some local
Advertising for downtown Davenport.
Yeah.
They go down there. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's
I still want to go to the Last Picture House.
vibe. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Last Picture House. Got a vintage vibe. It's got a cool balcony. And then of course, it's like it's a movie theater.
Yeah.
Also like kind of a bar lounge as well.
Say, I looked inside their windows tonight, and I assume people are out and about doing their Valentine's Day after, like the day after Valentine's Day when you can actually sneak it in. But it looked like it was like a full working bar that showed like they were showing old movies on the TV screens, and then they had their theaters in the back.
Yep, and then you go up the stairs, and I think there's some theaters, a theater up there too, or something. Yeah, it's a cool setup. They built. Yeah, there's some investment going on in downtown Davenport. So if you're looking for something to do and want to go out, definitely go down there. Check it out. There's the Capitol Theater is another one where they've been having some bigger concerts. Some bigger bands have been coming through. I've been impressed with their kind of lineup that they've had. Of course, across the river, they have Rust Belt and the Vibrant, the Mark at the Vibrant there.
Sometimes I like those smaller places though. For like, I think it's much cooler, especially for like the smaller bands. Like I know you're into it too. Like I'm big into the punk scene, like punk pop, punk scene, like music. I know you were into it as well. Like I think those are cooler in those smaller places. And then like when we were young tour, or the concert they had in Vegas, like they had a designated stage that was like a basement party. Like where only like
That's
100 people were able to be in it. Like that to me is like that's a sick concert.
yeah,
The
yeah.
sound is like not very great. Like it's just like the band sounds cool, but also like it's this shitty sounding like it's not built to be like this perfect sound place. It's just a cool environment.
Because I'm 45. I don't know if people your age still do it, but like it was always like bragging rights. Oh, I saw them guys before. They were
Yeah.
an arena band or whatever. That was the cool thing. Why I feel like we need to invest in this stuff in Davenport, in Iowa, and Illinois, and the other side of the river is because like in San Diego, they had all these great venues that
Yeah.
kind of promoted the music scene, and like that fed itself, and you got to see these bands like Blink 182 before they got big, um, in the early 2000s there, and it was awesome to just a couple blocks from my uncle's shop is a place called Belly Up. And the Belly Up is it's like this maybe 1,000 people at the most venue, so maybe Rust Beltish, but not even probably that big. But um, all these cool bands come through, and you get to see them like very intimately.
Yeah.
Uh, Almost a lot of them just kind of hang out afterwards
Yeah.
and stuff. So that's important, I think, to the culture of a neighborhood. And
Yeah.
the more we
One
have,
and one thing I've always loved like talking to you about music is like you were kind of in your like teenage era, like that type of music out in California where it was like very huge, and like I grew up with like super young parents, so I listened to that music when I necessarily shouldn't have been when I was little, but so I grew up with that music, so it's like very cool to hear my favorite bands. It's like, oh yeah, I saw them, I know about them. Like that's one thing I've always loved talking to you about was like those, because like we had a conversation about the guys that the one that wrote the rock opera like when he was super young. I can't.
anything,
Yeah, say anything. That's right. And like
something or other, maybe I don't can't remember his name.
say yeah,
Um,
but
yeah, they it was all skateboarding music. It
yeah,
was
and
music
that's
like people playing at the skate park.
yeah. And I was more into BMX, but it was still the same stuff. So
Yeah.
it was like that's my favorite
And
stuff to listen to.
then I had access to some of the guys that worked in the shoe industry, like not Vans, but like Osiris and stuff at the time. So they would
Oh wow,
have,
I haven't heard that in a while.
open up they would open up their like little skate parks, and we just go there, these private skate parks. I'm not claiming to be a skater by any means. I would be there and fall down a couple times here and there in front of large groups of people.
Yeah,
But other than that, just hang out, just chill and watch them do really cool stuff. Because
yeah,
some of them were former pros or people trying to become pros or current pros or whatever, or just people
yeah.
that are crazy, as
And
other
like,
people.
and then I remember watching Jake Brown's fall, and then like having that conversation with you about he slept on my buddy's couch. I was like, what? That
Yeah,
guy
he
was an
actually
idol. Like,
yeah, shattered both his ankles, and somehow managed to walk off the freaking thing with no ankles.
yeah, that was wild.
Let me tell them about Dead Threads real quick, and then when we come back, we can talk about what you think. What you think happens this off season? Where we're going? Give me 1 second. Yeah. If you're all about expressing yourself through what you wear, then you gotta check out Dead Threads. They got the most wicked collection of t-shirts that scream individuality. Want vintage vibes with your favorite team? Dead Threads has the tee for every vibe and occasion. Whether you're chilling at home, hitting the streets, or even hosting your own podcast, make sure to use code BARELY for 10% off. Dead Threads. Check them out. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we've already talked about, we kind of assume it's going to be a bunch of line work continuing on. I don't know personally what kind of defense Dennis Allen likes to run, but I heard it's very similar to Vic Fangio's, what we saw
Yeah,
in in the Super Bowl, which I like. Vic Fangio was a Bears defensive coordinator with Matt Nagy, I believe. And we went to the playoffs
Yeah.
last time. So you got to have good guys up front, right? You got to get pressure without extra people.
Yeah.
I think if that's the case, then you got to get some more line.
Yep. And some of the
More
top
line
guys,
help.
some of the top guys right now are Trey Smith, who is a guard for Kansas City, which can't say that he sold himself very well in the Super Bowl, but I feel like that whole offensive line just fell apart. Ronnie Stanley from the Ravens.
But you got to look at like individual grades too. You know,
Yeah,
he might have had a game actually, and just the rest of everyone else. I don't know. Plus, it's like also like I don't know how to analyze linemen. I could like to think I would do, but I thought Nate Davis was going to be good. To be honest with you, he looked pretty good elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think his heart was in it, or his, really his heart. I just didn't seem like his heart was in it. He had family stuff going on, and that's fine, but as a football fan, I want to see somebody blocking for the kid.
Yeah.
I think Ben Johnson helps that though, too. So you don't need to, you don't have to have 5 Trent Williams up there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Doesn't have
I think so too.
Philadelphia's, the biggest line in history. Average size was like 6'4" or 6'5" or something like that. 6'7", 340 pounds.
Yeah.
The average line like 20 years ago was the weight was like 240 pounds.
Yeah, it was like 6'3", 240 was like the comp, and then it was like this year is like you said, like 6'6", 6'7", and like 300 and some pounds. Like, jeez.
It kind of depends on what you're trying to do. If you're just doing power run, that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they were dominantly doing, I feel like. I don't know. I feel like we don't need that though. Like I was mentioning, I think it's more about getting good role players, having some depth on offensive line. And then, so I mean, again, like even a guy that was in the Super Bowl maybe didn't have a great game. Maybe he is good with the other guys that you can put there with them. And then Ben Johnson having Caleb's internal clock sped up.
Yeah.
So it's boom, 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 out, no matter what.
I wouldn't be surprised if was Kevin Zeitler from the Lions. If he liked Ben Johnson, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with him either. I think he's a guard. But yeah, guard.
We do have some pieces, right?
Yeah.
We have who is it? Darnell Wright.
Darnell Wright, I believe, is a piece you could work around. Yep.
Right. I think we definitely need to focus on center because he needs to be. That's one. I just think it's a key piece we've been missing because where the ball's hiked and those shotguns and all that matters too, and calling out, blocking, all that stuff to kind of lead the line.
Be your second quarterback.
Yeah, and Coleman Shelton isn't it. I think maybe he is better at a guard position, maybe, or just as a secondary, as a backup. I think he's gone anyway. We're releasing him. Who else? Tevin Jenkins. We don't know about him, whether or not he's coming back. I think we still have Larry Borum. Matt Pryor.
Which I'm back and forth on Pryor. Like he had some really good high spots.
And again, he's not. If he's not a constant starter, I think he's great.
Yeah, and you know what the hardest part too is? Like it's hard to like rank these guys anyways because they don't have any. Like it was constantly rotated in and out, and it was like there was no cohesion there. Like we just couldn't get anybody to.
They had 3 different coordinators.
Yeah.
And
so their first years together, like it's tough.
Okay. It's a bad year to judge.
Yeah.
But there's things you can judge by talent level of, speed, all that stuff off the ball. One of the problems that we had that, that would help everyone out, I think, is just the pre-snap discipline.
Yeah.
Not having any of those first and stuff, because then you're not starting behind the sticks already.
Yeah.
Because then they can just bring pressure and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, especially early in the season, it was huge problem for that.
And that's just like it's always an indicator of like a bigger problem, like no discipline really to me. If it's a continuing issue, which it was really, it was real bad at the beginning of the season. Then it kind of never really got better, but never really was all the way cleaned up. It was just all starts in the worst positions. It's like you're doing silent counts and stuff. How are you getting false starts? You should all know what the count is.
Right.
In those positions where you're trying to get the other team to jump off sides, and you get the offsides. It's like, that's a huge weapon for, or it was for many years for Aaron Rodgers. It's getting people to jump and then getting a free play, or or at first down without having to run a play. Yeah. See here, we gotta tell them about Fanatics, and then let's see. I want to know who you think's gonna how you think it's gonna go in the draft this year, and then who you think next year is gonna be. If it's going to be similar to this year, or who do you think is going to be one of the standouts next year? Because like this year was Washington, there is always a team. Year before was kind of Lions. It's like, oh wow, they are really good. It's not just a fluky thing. But yeah, we'll tell them about Fanatics. We'll come back and talk about it.
Hey guys, just want to take a break from the podcast to tell you about Fanatics. Fanatics, you can find everything you need to support your team, from jerseys and hats to hoodies and accessories. We've got it all. It's officially licensed, so you know you're getting the real deal. Here's the best part. We've teamed up with Fanatics to bring you an exclusive offer. When you use the code 24SHIP at checkout, you'll get free shipping on orders over $24. Plus, by using our special link in the show notes on our website, you'll be able to directly support our podcast. So head over to fanatics.com, load up the best Bears gear, and use code 24SHIP for free shipping on orders over $24. Win-win. You get to show off your Bears pride and help keep Barely Maintaining going strong. Thank you for your support, and as always, bear down. Now let's get back to
all right. Yeah, check out Fanatics. We dig them. Yeah, so this draft, we do have some picks coming up early. Man, I've heard some, because everyone was saying Ashton Genty said the Bears looking nice at number 10. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I do not want to pick a running back.
I also don't think he's going to be there at 10.
Probably not. I don't know. Who knows? You know how it gets, man. People get scared and want. People hop up in there.
Yeah.
The member you don't belong. Because really, the NFL, like from what I've heard from NFL GM talks around the league, is there's nobody they think that really should be a first round quarterback, but there's gonna be because they have to be.
Yeah. You got.
Which is like especially since last year there's 6 and they all seem to be really good first round picks.
You know what's wild is Jaden Milroe is the number 4 quarterback.
I think he needs another year.
Yeah.
And
we both talked about that a couple times. Where
he wanted to be back at Alabama, but man, he just did not look like he was putting it together like a real passing game type of offense.
Yeah.
Because the games where they really dominated, he was just running all over. It just, it was long pass stuff, and then there was just no one there to stop him. So you just run. And it's like that doesn't work in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's ask Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Bryce Young's put there now, I think. A passing game wise.
I know a bunch of 7 Hawkeyes got invited to the combine. Obviously, that's fairly normal for Alabama too, I think.
That doesn't. I could name 7 at least that I would have. You know what I mean? I didn't really, only because of you. I paid a little more attention to Iowa, but yeah, that, of course, up front, defensively and offensively, they got some guys. Of course, tight end. Their secondary is like whoever's coaching their secondary over there is building NFL players.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at Cooper DeJean. I don't know about the kids this year, but they're shut down.
Castro is the
They're shut down corners.
Yeah.
Caleb should get Caleb Johnson, the running back, should get an invite.
Yep, he did.
He was as good, if not better, at some points in the season than Ashton Genty was. Against the competition he was facing.
I believe he's the number 3 ranked running back going into the draft because it's Genty first. The kid from North Carolina is second.
Do you think he'll be available
for the Bears?
I mean, just later in the draft.
Maybe in the second round. Yeah, I could see it. It depends. Like you said, it depends on how the draft goes. Like things get weird all the time, and it's just the most random things will happen. I saw they released a video of Cooper DeJean's when the Eagles traded up to get him. They thought the Rams were taking him when they traded up. They thought he was going to be gone because they were all like, as soon as the Rams turned in their pick, they all like freaked out in the office, like because they thought he was gone.
Five. Yeah, I mean, honestly, because you got two things with him. You got a great returner.
Yep.
And you got a lockdown corner.
Yeah.
And it seems just like a level-headed, like a really good team.
Yeah.
Kid, you know?
Yeah, him and Quentin Mitchell are just being first and second round for their secondary. They went from like one of the worst secondaries to one of the best.
Yeah. They had one of the worst defenses to one of the best defenses.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
And that was part of it is that. So draft order. Quick top 10 is Tennessee, Cleveland at 2, New England, Jacksonville, Raiders, Jets, Panthers, New Orleans, and then we're at 10.
Tennessee's grabbing either Shador or Cam Ward because they're going to go quarterback.
I think Will Levis isn't the guy. He has his own mayonnaise scented
Mr. Mayo
cologne. NFL.com has Tennessee taking Cam Ward. And then the Cleveland taking Travis Hunter, and then Giants taking Shador. Then you start going to rushers, edge rusher, Abdul Carter, who is the Penn State one who kind of made a name for himself there in the playoffs.
He's good.
Ashton Genty goes to Raiders at 6. It says here, and it has us taking a offensive tackle, Will Campbell from LSU. Chicagoland's a legitimate starting left tackle to protect Caleb and move defenders in the run game. He'll be the best player they've had at that spot since Jimbo Covert, the 6th overall pick in the 83 draft. Remember him?
Yeah, so well.
I remember him when I was alive when he was playing.
12 years before I was even born.
I think you'd remember a guy's name, Jimbo. No, doesn't stand out. That'd be nice if he's really that guy.
Yeah, we need somebody that
I want that type of guy. That's what I want.
Yeah.
An offensive tackle. Is Trent Williams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Generational, gonna have forever type guy.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
One that you continuously
and then a center. Then you build around those guys. You know, you fit in their key pieces.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, we should probably wrap up. We're already 10 minutes past the hour here.
It's had so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I got a good little education about hockey. I like hearing about all that stuff from you. I don't really have much experience with it. I haven't followed it, but I do like the way they are. You know, they set up the season and are kind of doing this other stuff too.
Yeah,
And that's another element to it.
Yeah.
Plus, it allows guys to play together that probably don't play together, right?
Yeah.
Because now
It
you're
brings that whole
playing.
pride thing for your nation too. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, especially right now with all the political stuff, with Canada, it's like, yeah, let's beat them there.
yeah. So for
Can't beat you with
USA after you
Dude.
boo our anthem, we can start fights in 9 seconds in 3 fights.
an American thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you boo us? Punch you in the face. Somebody hand me a Bud Light. They're cool again. It's okay to like Bud Light again. In here, they got Post Malone and
Yeah.
Shane Gillis as their spokespeople, and everything's okay now.
Just drinking some PBR.
As usual, we want to say thank you to Julie Burheit and Lindsay O'Brien for giving us the time to do this. 30 episodes, man. Ryan, I appreciate you doing it with me. It's a lot of dedication, and especially since you've been dealing with me being an invalid and missing episodes, we'd have probably 32 by now.
I'm just worried that I'm gonna lose you some week. You're getting up there in age and keep getting
old,
sick.
and yeah, you're right. You're right. See, everyone should wear a mask again. Otherwise, I'm gonna die here. Especially if you're in public, just cover your face. No, it's probably just because I have a baby now, and I take her in for checkups, and they're just probably throwing other baby germs on her.
Sick kids everywhere.
Here's your cup of baby germs when you come in the door. Good luck. You're immune to everything now. And I almost died.
Max refused to go to Addie's checkup this time because he's like, the doctor's gonna shoot me again because he got his flu shot last time he went.
F that dude. I know what he's up to. Killing people. Felt like crap after he shot me too. That being said, tune in next week where we'll talk about the offseason some more. We're going to have to figure out what the heck the Bears' direction they're going in. This coaching regime. No, not welcome. Goodbye.
We're restarting it, guys.
That was Dry Run. This time we won't talk about so much stuff. We won't go off on downtown Davenport. All that. No, we will. We'll still talk about all that stuff. Also, Bronco sports. How do you feel about them? Love them? Hate them? We'll talk to you guys next week. More football, more stuff, more movement. Aaron Rodgers' new job as, spoiler, Arena Football League's best player. EFL. Aaron Rodgers goes to Canada. Just despite America.
Yeah.
He says he's Canadian now.
Said he
Is
could
there
take all the ketamine he wanted.
Healthcare's legal up here. Free.